West End Lift Station. And then we're pumping it from West End Lift Station to Stafford Street. Then it dumps into gravity at Stafford Street. And it stays gravity all down to Walnut. So anytime we have anything that gets introduced into the lift station down there, which could be anything as leachate, something from a factory, or anything, there's a chance for the system to burp.
Burp, that's what happened.
Burp out a little bit of odor. Even though we have every manhole down there sealed up with manhole
Sealant.
sealant, which is the black tar stuff, which is impossible to get, I mean, it takes 3 people to get a manhole lid off now because it's so stuck so tight.
Right.
But I used the analogy yesterday, and I'm gonna use it today, and I'll probably use it forever, is sewer odor is like a mouse. You know, mice can get into things you don't think they could ever get into, same way with
yeah.
sewer. It's gonna come out, you may think you have it sealed up, but if it's just got a little bit of something, it's gonna come out.
And you gotta have manholes.
What was the sewer smell up in Catawba? Mrs. Salary called me about that one day, and I'm like,
Hers was her house internally.
okay.
We went
That
there.
was all, that was the only question I needed answered, right?
We tried to explain to her that she needed to check all of her basement drains and everything because they do have a tendency to dry out.
Yep.
If they dry out, then you can release gaseous odors into the house, and she was not listening to it. But then again, then she started on streets and started on everything else.
Oh, gosh.
That's where I came in.
Yeah,
I mean, she, you know, she was concerned.
I mean, it is,
So did they pour some water down the drains and stuff like that? and took
yeah,
care of it?
everything they could find to try and help her out, and,
And then,
yeah.
We had that once, oh, it's been 30 years ago, when we lived on Second Walnut, the old house, and it started smelling and called up and, well, you know, on the phones you can only do so much, and it was, Steve McCoy came by, and he went down the basement, he put some water down there, and he says, "You're gonna be okay now." He just off he went.
simple as that.
Yeah. So those are the things you remember as a homeowner, you know?
Sure.
Yeah, can I have one too? Because mine didn't load for some reason.
Well, we,
I know.
After June.
All I got on it was, I got this, one, you know, the agenda page, and then I opened up the second one, there was the agenda page that said 1 of 21, and when I clicked to go to the next page, it was nothing.
The new section there, they actually put a drip line into a couple of those drains in the basement to prevent that. They actually ran water in there on just a little drip basis to keep water in the P trains. Cause they says it's gonna happen down here, there's nothing going through that drain, it's gonna stay.
Okay.
yep.
Sewer gas is just nasty, you know,
Oh, yeah.
but put a little water in the drain, you're good to go.
Yeah, it helps.
That's right.
That's,
And that's when they spread the manure on the west side of town and you know they did that, it's like, that don't smell too bad.
what do they call that, cash in the air, or something like that, I think is what they call it?
Yeah. Smells like money to me.
Yep.
I used to live out in the middle of Pound Tex out there, so.
Oh, yeah.
They were there before I was.
Did you get it going, Teresa?
Nope, I'm taking notes, I've got my book, my pen, and things.
Can't get it going?
We are having a technical difficulty, so we will be old
Well,
school.
this'll be an easy one for that,
We're
right?
gonna be old school for minutes.
Well, then why don't we get this party started?
I was gonna say, we have three things to follow in there, and none of them match the numbers that they have on their boxes, so.
Yeah,
I'm
so
gonna come in
they're
this
supposedly
week and-
trying to get it into one,
One binder. All the other
Obviously
ladies,
hasn't
bless
happened
their heart, they've done this so much, I think they do it without even,
Well, you know what you could do is set up a Zoom meeting just by the microphone, just to capture the audio and transcribe it, and you'd have your minutes that way.
yeah,
oh,
That's an idea.
and just record the meeting
Record the meeting, yeah.
on your phone.
You guys have enough.
I will, yeah, I will be fine. I don't let them put any games or anything on my cell phone. She has grandpa's phone for that.
All right, let's call this meeting of the City of Washington Board of Public Works, what day? Tuesday, October 22nd, 7:30 a.m. Roll call, please.
Yes. John Whitmer,
Here?
Brad Mitchell,
Here.
Mike Radetick,
Here?
Steve Richardson, Mike Coulter,
Here?
Chad Briggs, Steve Struberg. Yeah,
Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, well, this might be the sparsest meeting we've ever had. too.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody have a chance to look at the minutes? We'll take corrections, updates,
Motion.
motion and a...
I guess I wasn't here. Can I second that?
You read them, right? They
I
look
read them,
good?
yeah. Okay, I second it.
If you read them, that's okay.
I did read them. Thanks, thanks
All
to
in
John.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, minutes approved. Now it's on to Kevin. We had a blank slate when this was written, so I'm sure you're gonna fill it in.
A couple things, not a big.
Not a lot,
Not a big
okay.
list, but a couple things. Priority items, we don't really have any priority items. Everything's running as normal. So, wastewater. Move on to wastewater, I
Got a
guess.
lot on wastewater. We got a bill on wastewater.
We got a bill on wastewater.
Take it away.
The bill is, and I apologize for not getting it in the packet. I actually didn't think about it till this morning when I was sitting at my desk, and I said, oh, I gotta take that with me. This is a bill from Understall Contracting Company, the company that assisted us in all the work we did down on Front Street with the track hoe, the shoring boxes, an additional laborer, and the time that they was there. So the price was the same as what they quoted, $3,075 a day for the track hoe, the laborer, and two of the boxes. They had to bring 2 extra boxes in to do the job because we had to have a manhole box when we set the manholes, and we had to have an extra long box when we extended to putting in the new pipe from our original construction side of it. So that was the additional costs on it. And then we all did work some extra hours, and they stayed right there with us and worked with us, so there was some overtime on it, 10 hours of overtime, which is, everything on this is, I was right there with them all the time, so they didn't add or do any changes to it, they just put in what time they did, so.
And we needed it.
And it was, they worked with us great. I mean, their labor jumped right in the hole with Dylan and the guys when he needed to. He didn't stand on the bank and just stand there and watch. So it was a good project.
Good.
On it. So, need to roll this forward to get payment on it.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll send that on for payment. Thank you.
I appreciate it. And some more discussion about Front Street. We haven't met since we got it all done. I did have to meet with council and tell them, so I apologize before talking to you guys to them, but I had no choice. So where we're at, we ended up replacing 170 feet of pipe to the west of the manhole we originally started on, because when we got to that manhole, we was able to get our camera in there, and we found that the 18-inch pipe was scrunched down to, about 9 inches-ish or something?
Yeah.
So we opted to just move forward. I got with Darren, we opted to just move forward with replacing that stretch of pipe, which was the pipe that's in front of, as you go down there now, you see the chaos that's down there.
Yeah.
It's that whole stretch through there from manhole to manhole where the Amtrak parking is. So we went ahead and replaced that. We got flow down to now about a half of a pipe, where before manholes were half full forever. So we have flow all the way down through. We checked all the manholes, and it's all running about half a pipe. Now, when we get to the manhole we replaced, heading east to the manhole on Lafayette, we found out that line is set on rock. So there is like a 1% grade difference between the manhole at Oak Street and the manhole at Lafayette. There's no fall. So it's a flat line. So that one is holding a little bit more sewage at that point till it gets to Lafayette. There's nothing we can do about it other than digging and breaking rock and putting a whole new pipe in, and that's something we don't even want to address that yet. So we're at that point. So what we're gonna do now is we are gonna get our camera in the line that's at the manhole at the exit side of the Amtrak parking lot, and we're gonna televise west, see what the line looks like underneath of the depot. And if it's slip lineable, if it's not collapsed or anything, and if it's just cracked, we know it's got some cracks in it. And we know all the pipe that we replaced was cracked. I mean, every bit of it had cracks in it, so we struggled actually to get to a point where we found good pipe to connect our pipe into, on the east side. So we're gonna televise that. If it's slip lineable, we're gonna slip line it. We already televised from the manhole that's at Oak Street to the manhole at Lafayette. That is extremely cracked. It hasn't collapsed yet, so we're gonna slip line that. So the plan is that once we get our televising done, I'm gonna get with Insutriform. I'm gonna have them come out. We're gonna see what it's gonna take to get it done, and we're gonna move forward with slip lining Front Street this year instead of slip lining some others. We got a couple spots that we know we have to slip line out in the system, but we're gonna do those and spend most of the money on Front Street getting that slip line so that we don't have a collapse or something that could happen, because now, we're at the point now where if we don't do something and something happens, then we become liable, because we know that there's a situation where something could happen, so we've gotta avoid
But do
that.
something, yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna be slip lining, so more to come on that.
So is that in a regular schedule? They're not gonna come in and do that early or anything, are they?
This is gonna be as soon as they can come in and.
As soon as they can,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, as soon as we get it televised and I get a hold of them, I'm gonna try, once we get it to that point, I'm gonna have them give us a cost. Now, there's a bunch of bypass pumping has to go along with this, so that will increase the cost. We've never had a project where we did bypass pumping with the slip lining. This will require bypass pumping, because we had to bypass to do the work too. But they do their own bypass pumping, so that'll all be part of it. So once I get that information, I'll get with you guys, whether it's an email or a special meeting or whatever, because I don't even know what the number's gonna be. It'd just be a wild guess, but it's not gonna be.
So slip lining, the way, for a long time we've been doing it to solve the infiltration. Since there's so much deterioration and cracking, does slip lining, I know it would hinder a collapse, but how does slip lining and collapsing come together?
Well, slip lining, basically when you slip line, the pipe the sock that they run through becomes a 1/4-inch fiberglass pipe.
Yeah,
It can handle
pretty good
compression,
pressure.
yes, stability. So that's why, the other reason why we slip line.
Okay.
Is we slip line to give, basically you're putting a new pipe in an old pipe.
Okay.
So you've got what's still there of the old pipe holding up, and then you've got this new fiberglass
On the inside.
pipe on the inside holding it together. Now, could it collapse?
Well-
Sure, anything could happen, but been doing this, I've been here, almost 25 years now. We've been slip lining ever since I've been.
Yeah, has there ever been a,
We have not had a
Okay.
collapse or a problem with the slip line when we use Insutriform. Now, we used a different company one year, and their lines are all peeling on the inside. So that's why,
Does the Insutriform have any idea how long something like that lasts? I mean, do they tell you it lasts 30 years?
well,
or-
it's just, they give the standard 20 year.
20 years,
Pretty much,
okay.
It's pretty much, it's everything, when you do something like this, they say, well, it'll last 20 years.
Gotcha.
That's kind of the industry longevity number that they give out. Like I said, there was slip lining done prior to me being here, so I got 25 years in almost. There was slip lining done before that, and it's still, we have no problem
Gotcha.
with it. Like I said, the only problem that we have with any slip lining is the company that we used other than Insutriform one year. And we've found the inside is actually starting to flake in and peel off, which means the interior's degrading because of hydrogen sulfide or whatever's causing it. But, I'm not a scientist, but.
When you say it goes west, and you actually said under the depot, where does that line go?
It's right in the sidewalk,
Under the sidewalk?
in the where the depot is. If you go to the depot and you look at it, there's a manhole in the sidewalk. There's actually two. There's a storm one and a wastewater sewer one. It's right there. So to replace that, to dig that, we wouldn't be doing. There's no way to dig underneath that.
So.
We'd have to go out into the
That would be a
street.
reroute.
That would be a reroute.
Okay.
Yeah, so slip lining is the best option for that stretch.
Okay.
So that's why we're looking at slip lining. And the other way, slip lining is the best option, because the only thing to do there to try and improve anything would be to tear all of that out, which means that whole sidewalk and everything, all the way out through there, get permission from from UP to be on their property, because it actually shoots over onto their property to get to that manhole. That's a whole nother,
That's a whole other thing.
yeah, that's a whole nother thing, so.
How
Slip
much-
lining is our best
How
option.
much of Front Street's going to be rebuilt down that, on the west end of Front Street when we get to that point?
Front Street is gonna go from Jefferson all the way to Stafford.
Wow.
That whole stretch is getting redone, from what I've heard. Now, that may change due to cost and price and all that other stuff, but the plan is right now all the way through that. So,
If you have a clear route, would it make sense to put a pipe in at that time?
it would make sense to put a type, but we've discussed that. The number I've got right now for that, just to put that line in from Stafford down to Lafayette, is sitting right around $300,000 to put that line in. By the time you buy the pipe, by the time, we would do it in-house, but by the time because our laborers, you kind of look at that as you're paying to have them do something. By the time you do the rock, the pipe and the rock and everything, and the fittings and the fusion machine, because I'd use HDPE pipe, you're looking at right at $300,000.
And we have,
And, but what you gotta remember, if we do that, I always like to live the motto of every action creates a reaction. If we do that, then we're gonna just be introducing the odor down at Lafayette. Because it's still the same odor that's coming down, it's still getting into a manhole, you're still dumping that same stuff that's there
yeah,
down. So there's a good chance that you would just be creating another odor situation at.
yeah.
The
Well, I'm
best
just-
way to do it, to eliminate all odor anywhere on Front Street, would be to run that line underneath the railroad tracks and right into the wet well of Walnut.
Yeah. Just checking.
That's-
Because we're gonna have work there, and I'm just looking at the worst-case scenario. If,
So-
if that's in danger of continuing to deteriorate, then,
So what the, kind of our internal staff and administration conversation has been for the last, say, year, is we're looking at, now we know we can bypass pump down there because we've got things set up to be able to do that. We can slip line that whole line down there in sewer, from Stafford Street all the way down to where we're gonna stop at with this project. So we can take care of that with slip lining as we go. We gotta set a manhole out in the middle of Front Street yet, which we need to do anyway, so that's something we're gonna be doing. But at that point, we would be able to slip line all of that. So slip lining gives it extra strength and support, so that would take care of the sewer side. Water side's a whole nother ballgame. Front Street is probably our oldest water line in town. I'd say if I had to go out on a limb, it's probably the oldest water line we've got. That probably needs to be replaced while we do the Front Street project.
yeah.
Because the worst thing we wanna have happen is a 120 PSI 8-inch line bust down on Front Street after they overlay it, or when they overlay it and they run a, 80-ton roller over it with vibrator, makes it about 120 ton vibrating, and we blow up a 8-inch line, we're taking out quite a bit of new asphalt if that happens. So,
Yeah.
we're looking at that as we move on. That's why we did Second Street. We're looking at doing Main Street the same way, replacing that line, because again, we're talking, everything we do downtown is our oldest infrastructure. So we gotta kind of
Sure,
look at that. So that's what we're looking at. So the approach is to try and get that water line replaced.
Okay,
That's
more to come.
more to come. Yes, more to come.
I
And
think we
cost,
got a little breathing room before we get there. but-
26.
Yeah, but not just a whole lot for the
No,
plan.
because this spring, we need to do Main Street. Because I think Main Street's before Front Street. I think Main Street's next year, if I remember right.
I think so.
Yeah, and then Front Street. So we need to do the same thing on Main Street that we did on Second.
Isn't there more work on Third Street from Jefferson West?
There hasn't been any conversation
I thought
about,
I'd heard we were going Jefferson, what they just did Jefferson East, they were going Jefferson West.
they might. I haven't heard anything about that yet, but that's, usually we find out about that stuff right before it happens, just like we did on Second Street, and we're out there rushing around. We know about Main and Front, so we're gonna get ahead of that. But
Are you cutting the street, the pavement up on Washington between Sixth and Eighth?
yes, we are.
What's
Yes, we are.
going on?
We haven't got to water yet, but, yeah, yeah, we are
Well,
replacing.
that's done, well, then we'll
But
move on.
moving on to water, moving
Moving
on to
on.
water. We are replacing a 2-inch line on Washington Avenue from Sixth Street to Eighth Street. We've had several breaks on that line throughout the years. And the guys were out last week, televising for a sewer issue, and we found water coming into the sewer line not at a service line, basically. So we know we've got a leak there somewhere, we can't find it, so we're just gonna replace it. But it's gotten to the point where it just needs to be replaced, which will improve water quality, fire protection. It's not just because we're tired of working on it.
Right.
It improves the quality of water and fire protection. Anytime we get a 2-inch out, we put a 6-inch in, that just improves everything that's in that area. So that's why we're saw cutting,
Just curious.
yeah, over there.
I didn't know if it was water or sewer.
Yeah, no, it's thankfully it's water. But,
Okay.
and we have all the stuff in stock for that, so we don't have to go out, we're using our stock materials to do that, so we have everything in-house to do that, so. We're starting that this week, I think. We got shut-offs today, though, so. I don't know how many we're gonna have, because we didn't do it last month because we was down on Front Street, so we're catching up this month. Usually we have, about 70 to 76, 78 people on the list, so we could have that, or we could have 140. We don't know. We haven't run a report yet. So. Anyway, so that's that. Other than that, somebody did, I haven't got out there to look at it yet, but apparently somebody hit our guardrail out at South Point. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, over the weekend, I guess. Haven't been out there to take a look at that yet. That's my today thing, to see what we have to do to fix that. Apparently it was a drive-off. Somebody hit it and didn't report it. There was no police report or anything that we can find. So, the good thing is the guardrail did what it was supposed to and stopped the car from hitting the tank.
Well, at least it's a guardrail, not a building.
Exactly. Yeah, well, 9 that we had to replace a few years back. But anyway, that's it about water. There's not much else really going on other than just the normal stuff.
Any other business to bring up? Any comments, questions?
No, I didn't. That's kind of it is a thing. We got the new lift station out at Olenberg Industrial Park, and Friday, Carrie was out there and we found that, the force main has developed a leak out there. But we don't have to worry about it. It's still under warranty and KGU has to come out and repair it, but, yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah, that's it. It's just the way it is. It's a giant lift station, so it's got a lot of retention time, so it's not like we're gonna have to worry about a massive issue. It's just, it needs to be fixed. So they're on it. It could take them a couple days to get the crew together to go do it, but they're on it. They are installing the new gravity line down off of Rabbit Trail. That's taking out our lift station that gives us all kinds of problems down on Rabbit Trail. So by the end of the month, KJU's doing it, they're moving pretty fast on that stuff. Probably by the end of the month, they'll have that all done and we'll have a lift station out of service, and that's the one that's
is
been
that the lift station you're always cleaning out?
cleaning out and it's always tripping out and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was undersized for all the development, wasn't planned for development back there. At the time it was put in, there was no discussion of development, so, they didn't plan ahead. Like we're trying to do now, we're always trying to plan ahead, but anyway, back then they didn't. So now we're getting that out of there, so that'll be a good thing for that whole area out there to get that lift station out of there, so that'll be good.
Well, our next meeting scheduled for November 26th. Without any other comments, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Thank you all.
adjourned, thank you. Right, at least we had a bill to pay. Gosh, I just felt like we were waiting for.
Well, I'm not supposed to have bills every month.
That's fun.
Yeah, that was something,
Come in here with those 6-digit numbers.
yeah. But I'll have a couple of them in a few months for the treatment plant, but. Right now, we're on hold on that. I did tell you guys, we gotta, rebuild our belt press, didn't I? Did I tell you guys that?
Yeah,
Rebecca?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't that one of the bills last month to get that contract started?
Yeah, it was, I brought
What
it.
was the name of that company? That was the-
Alpha-
you go.
Alpha
Yeah, that's
Val-
what-
Alpha Val, Alpha Laval, Alpha Laval.
Yeah, something.
Laval, yeah.
Yeah,
So, it's rolling, but the problem is, it's gonna take 20 weeks to get the parts,
20 weeks.
20 weeks.
That's a half a year.
So, it's in the process.
Thanks, guys.
It's in the
Thank
process.
you. Yeah, you too.
Mike.
We needed a form to sign this.
Yeah, I'll have Teresa get that together and then.
Great day.
Just stop by
You
my
too.
office
Don't work
later.
too hard.
Yeah, if you.
I hear ya.